From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBacks, the PrimeTime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And yes, it is time for the premier sports betting show. And boy, oh boy, do we have ourselves some pretty good things to talk about today. It is National Championship Day in Houston, and we have San Diego State, big winner chicken dinner on Saturday night. And also we have UCONN, who was a big, well, you kind of knew that UConn was going to do what they did Saturday night. Game got a little close for a second there. They got tied up 19-19, and then from that point on, it just was an absolute just washing of Miami. Miami wished they would have drew San Diego State, seriously, or FAU, because if they would have drew those two, they would be playing tonight. Like, seriously, Miami was good enough to play tonight, but they just had to draw with pretty much the best team left in the tournament. So it happened. So San Diego State gets the biggest win in school history. And we've said this 3 times already. Alabama was the biggest win in school history. Then Creighton was the biggest win in school history. Now the greatest finish in school history, as we could say, was on Saturday. It was about, I would say about 6-7 seconds left on the clock when Florida Atlantic just couldn't get it done. This team literally gave the game. I wouldn't say they gave the game away. I would just say that they went to total molasses there in the final 5 minutes of the game. Florida Atlantic went down 14-5 at one point early in the game. And it seemed like, okay, looks like San Diego State's about to start rolling in this thing. San Diego State wound up not rolling. They got stagnant. And what happened after that is that you had FAU literally outscore San Diego State at that point, right there on the spot. They outscored them from that point on to end the half. Literally, they outscored them. I'm getting the numbers for you now because I got to remember how much it was at halftime. Now, they were down 5-14, right? And from that point on, they went ahead and outscored them 35-19 to close out the half. And pretty much you told yourself that, all right, we got ourselves, all right, it looks like this is going to be FAU again. And FAU went up 13 points. They were up 55-42 at one point. And everything just seemed like it was not working for San Diego State. And even though I did have FAU on the ticket, I got a little piece of a little bit of, you can't not have a little bit of love for the Cali team. I just thought that they were going to fall short. I thought that, the biggest moment of the school's history, they'll fall short. You know what I mean? And what happened is that this team gritted up, and I looked to my brother and I said to him, I said, you know what? If this team just plays with the old mentality I used to play with when I got down coaching, because I was a real defensive coach when I was coaching hoops, I used to always tell my team, I said that let them get comfy, and then we're gonna lock all this up, and that's exactly what San Diego State did. They saw that FAU was getting comfortable, and then they started locking up everything. They started making everything very tough to do. And when you have a lead, you start getting, and when I say comfortable, you're okay with missing a few shots. And then you're okay with giving up a few buckets because you're up. You're good. And then we got down to the final minutes, and now we're in a tie game. Or literally, we were trying to get to a tie game because what happened is that San Diego State literally kept FAU in the game because they couldn't make any free throws. At one point in time, I think they grabbed about 8 offensive rebounds in a row. All of them were called fouls, but they were only able to, if it wasn't the double bonus, they were only able to like maybe hit one or miss both. It started getting really ugly. And pretty much when we got down to the end of the game, I really don't understand why FAU did not try to foul. But they played it up. I think that they called 3 timeouts very quickly as well too. FAU made a lot of mental errors there at the end of the game. And San Diego State was able to take advantage of that in a sense and then get themselves down court. And regardless of anything, man, the guy had no clue how much time was left on the clock. He fired it up and shot the perfect shot that you have to shoot in that situation. Bottom out. Nailed it. Game time. Moving on. San Diego State, see you Monday night. FAU, nobody's going to feel bad because you wasn't even supposed to be here. But all in all, though, they might have had one of the greatest rides ever in the tournament, in my opinion. You know what I mean? We haven't seen a ride this great for a team since, I would say, the Villanova team from '85, the one that won the national championship, because nobody saw you coming. Nobody took you seriously. And then when it was time to take you seriously, you were right there, answering the bill. It's just that somebody had to win, and it was San Diego State. It's that simple. Now, UConn in their game, UConn just literally, we don't even have to go into it that long. We all pretty much had the idea that UConn, if they got on Miami early and figured out what Miami was doing early, they would just go ahead and strap them up. And that's exactly what they did. Pretty much they led at 13 by the half, and then in the second half, they absolutely just finished the job. That's exactly what they did. And pretty much it was a tie. It was pretty much, a foregone conclusion once we got to the second half that UConn was going to win this game. So UConn took care of their business. They're playing Monday night. That's the 17th win this season over a team that's not in their conference by double digits. Everybody they played this year, they've beaten by double digits. That's absolutely incredible. Incredible. So they come into the night, and everything is right. The 7.5 point favorite for this game, that is correct. That's what it has to be. I even said on Twitter Saturday night, as in the closing minutes of the UConn game, I said that, let's set it. I said that if I set the line now, it will be at 8.5. It opened up at 6 and went to 7.5 in 30 minutes. So that means that the bettors were feeling like they were getting some love. So I would say all that money action really truly did go in on the UConn side. But as the money line was revealed, as I said to a lot of people too, I said that San Diego State's money line is going to be enticing because everybody's going to be feeling really good about that money line after cashing out what happened in the women's game on Friday. They got the Caitlin Clark 5-1 home plus 500. So they're going to try to get this 3-1 home because they're feeling like this is the team that's on the high. San Diego State, I truly do feel like, won their national championship on Saturday night, and that the winner of this game is a foregone conclusion. They had to set the line at this number because literally that's the only way you're going to get fair betting. This may be the first big favorite I've seen that's going to be taking a lot of the money for the spread tonight. But a lot of the well-wishers and, penny pinchers will be all over San Diego State money line tonight, trying to get lucky. And I think that that's not a good strategy to have tonight. I think that you just need to be play it smart and just watch the game. To be honest with you, when they lay a 7.5 on the bettors, it's going to be tough. But I feel like if you bet tonight, and I'm saying this as a person who knows he's betting this game tonight, but I'm just trying to give you guys some sound advice tonight so you don't get too crazy about it. Like in reality, I would say probably, if I didn't choose the profession I chose, then I probably would just watch the game. You know what I mean? But all in all, if you're gonna make a bet, I would say that the safe bet here is to play the under team total on San Diego State. I think that UConn's going to absolutely do a great defensive job tonight on the San Diego State team that's kind of limited offensively. You know what I mean? They got some good offensive movement and good offensive sets and things like that, but it seems like they get a little stagnant on that end sometimes. And you can't be like that against UConn, in my opinion. So I think that the under on the team total is a great, smart play for anybody possibly playing the under for the game. Because I know that San Diego State had 13 unders in a row, got snapped on Saturday, but they'll probably revert back to that as well, too. I feel like this game is not going to have a big amount of points, but that doesn't mean it won't be a blowout. You know what I mean? So I truly do feel that when it comes down to this game right here, you're going to get yourself a game that could have been a classic if UConn was a slightly less dominant. But this team is just, I feel, too dominant for San Diego State. Even though San Diego State's not going to lay down. They're not going to lay down at all. They're going to show great effort because that's what great defensive teams do. They have great effort. But I just don't think they score enough. That's the whole thing. I just don't think they score enough, and they really foul too much, to be honest with you. And I think tonight will be a big night of them having a lot of fouls. And the way UConn plays, UConn protects it one game at a time. They're not over analyzing this thing. They're not already doing a parade and celebrating and stuff. They know what time it is. This is the game that they got to win. You know what I mean? It's they had to win all these games because it was one or gone. And win or go home, straight up. And I think that the win or go home mentality has really motivated this team. And I think that they tell themselves one more time. And I think they're going to get that effort tonight. I think, to be honest with you, and I do not like to talk about favorites like this, but I'm going to be dead honest with you. I haven't been wrong to you guys about UConn once. I told you UConn by 25 when they played Gonzaga. After Gonzaga got that big win over UCLA, I told you guys that they were going to smoke probably everybody by double digits until they got to a team like UCLA or Kansas. They did that. And literally, this team is just went ahead and they've absolutely met all expectations. So I feel like tonight we check off the final check mark and we go ahead and cast that 22-1 ticket as well, too, because I have 5 futures going into the national championship. The only one that made it to the Final Four was UConn, and they were the biggest number as well, too. So hopefully we do get this one home, but that 7.5 tonight, just go ahead. I'm going to have to ride that wave. I know that usual me, if I wasn't really having a side here, I would probably say plus 7.5 San Diego State because I feel like in all senses of the word, there will be an overbet for UConn tonight. But that overbet is very feasible because UConn is absolutely the unit right now. I won't say that they're the better team, but the way that they're playing basketball right now is nobody can really stop what they're doing unless you're one of these top tier programs. And San Diego State is a top winning program, but I wouldn't say that they're top tier. So all in all, let's have a great game tonight. I look forward to it. I know this game will have a lot more about the gameplay of the game and not more as of what's going on the side like the women's game. I thought that was absolutely a travesty the way that they overlooked the accomplishments of all those women on the floor for 2 players having what is competition at the end of the day. But since it's women and women had to be a little bit nicer to each other when they're in those type of settings, it made it more of a big deal. But that's the only way that you can make that type of situation interesting. And that's really kind of cold-blooded towards the ladies, to be honest with you. And I know that they want to get out of that, always nagging with each other and always arguing with each other. But once again, the race baiters had to make sure that they jumped into this thing and made it more about the race of these 2 women instead of just making it more about a great game that was won by LSU yesterday. So that's my 2 cents on that situation right there. I'm not going to go further into it, but congratulations to LSU. Congratulations to Iowa as well, too. And congratulations to both of those young ladies for bringing a spotlight to the game. even though it was a negative situation that it turned into, they both have enhanced the women's game to another level, and they both should feel really special about that. But at the end of the day, in 2 days, ain't nobody gonna care about it. I'm just gonna keep it real with you, and that's just how it is. I think that a lot of times in sports today, people just have to have something to talk about, and I think that that's just something that it's just human nature now, and it has to be something negative. It can't never be anything positive anymore. So it's just the cards that are dealt. But all in all, this is going to be a great game tonight. We get to watch some basketball and not have to watch the politics of something going on the side and things of that nature. Everybody has an opinion, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's all about what's on the scoreboard at the end of the night. All that other stuff is trivial in theater. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. AJ gets himself a big win on Saturday night, and that was absolutely incredible. AJ, we don't have to talk too long about it. AJ had 12 rounds of pretty much great boxing. He had some moments where he did get a little tagged and things like that, but Jermaine Franklin is a very viable heavyweight. I would never call him a guy that's going to win a championship, but he's a guy that will always be a great opponent, get you tuned up, keep you busy, things like that. An ATG, an all-time gatekeeper. So pretty much there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all got to understand, man, these guys are all about dollars and cents. So as long as they're making their money, they're going to be good. They're going to be cool. It's no biggie. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're all about making their money. So AJ goes in there, has a great showing, probably his best showing as a boxer in his whole career, because we know him as a straight up puncher, big puncher, guy that gets guys out of here by 4 or 5 rounds or so. And he came in at his heaviest, so everybody was expecting a big knockout coming in this fight. But you know what? Joshua showed that he has some gas in the tank as well too. He came in at his heaviest, but he really came in at his healthiest. He learned some new tricks of the trade, and he got some stamina from training with Coach James. Now, Coach James, I think, gave him the confidence to say, just go out there and go fight and go out there and win the fight. And then if knockouts and things come, that's a bonus. But let's win the fight. And he won the fight in a dominant fashion. But when people are used to you knocking people out, they're not going to accept a fight. They're not going to accept a unanimous decision. And I think that Anthony Joshua has a lot of people that want to see his downfall. A lot of people unimpressed with him because they always feel like he avoided the big fight with him and Wilder and blah, 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 blah. But I think Wilder and AJ are still set to fight each other, and it's going to be bigger. It's still going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in 20 years. It doesn't matter. And pretty much they're just building up more and more. They're just building up more and more hype for it at the end of the day. And it's going to be a big monster fight. And I think that they'll meet up for the belts and all that good stuff. But, you wanted this 4 years ago, but it's okay. It's okay. I think that people just still have a vendetta with Joshua because they were unable to make that fight happen. And I think people have to just let it go. That's what it is, because at the end of the day, that's boxing. It's some of the greatest fights, take forever to happen. But when they do happen, we get the fireworks that we expected, So I think that when it comes down to this, AJ is in a stay busy mode. He knows that he needs to work his way back to the championship. He's not asking to be put right in the position to fight for belts again. He wants to retune his style. He wants to figure out what it takes to not lose again. So sometimes you need to go against guys who are not the top quality heavyweights. If you ask anybody, Anthony Joshua, his last 4 or 5 fights, he's taken on high quality fighters. And that's where I say you can't dog the guy so hard. He's actually taking on the fights that others don't take on. And pretty much Anthony Joshua took care of business against a guy that did lose to Dylan White, but they thought he could have beat Dylan White that night. And it's really funny when you're the guy that beats up a guy that they think that has a chance, all of a sudden he's a bum, he can't fight. You're cherry picking, you're doing this, that, and the third, just like they did with little bro Jahai Tucker. Jahai Tucker beats a guy. They swore that this guy was a killer. He was going to give Jahai a problem. He's going to probably beat him for the first time. He tags Jahai in the first round, and boop, 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 boop. Now everybody's running around thinking that Jahai is nothing but a hyped up prospect for top rank. Then 6 rounds later, everybody is talking about he's a dog, he's this, that, and the third. Dude, it was 1 round. These guys can't be perfect. And when they do get punched and don't fall out, don't get knocked down, and come back and win the fight, that makes them even better. You guys are just, everybody just wants to figure out how they can just put something down. And that's the funniest thing about boxing fans and boxing critics, is that you're not even looking at the fight anymore. You're just looking for the moment to where you can complain and say that he's not the next Muhammad Ali, or he's not the next Floyd Mayweather. Everybody's a one of one, okay? And they're going to do the possible best that they can. Everybody can't duplicate perfection, all right? And I think that we have a big problem in expectations nowadays. You guys expect these guys to be superheroes, but they're just merely human. And I think that's exactly where we got a lot of things kind of confused at. And I think, AJ, keep doing what you're doing. I'm not mad at you. The people shouldn't be mad at you. You were a champion for half a decade. You held 4 belts at once. You just missed out on having the WBC crown. And he's always first in line to get one of these fights with a belt. It's his choice. I say no Fury, no Wilder next. Figure out fighting a Tony Yoka or something of that nature. Tony Yoka's been having some issues, but Tony Yoka got that would be 20. That would be guys who both have won gold medals in the last few Olympics going at it. That's a sellable fight. Him fighting against maybe Big Baby Miller as well too. These are things, and I think that he said that he'll be back in 12 weeks. So that means that he's looking to be back in 3 months. So that's great strategy. I think Josh will probably give us 2 more fights by the end of this year. And then when we get to 2024, I think he'll have a bunch of big fights lined up for that year as well for that year. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers, we don't have to be too long with the Lakers. The Lakers is absolutely bowling right now. That's all I can say, is that the Lakers are going off. The Lakers get themselves a big win yesterday. They won 134-109 against the Rockets team that's just ready for the summer. That's all I can say, is that the Rockets are ready for the summer. But they whole team might have to go play in G League, not G League, but they whole team might need to go play in Summer League so they can polish up those skills a little bit. Jabari Smith Jr., the most unnecessary technical in life yesterday. Guy is getting crazy with the referee. They're down 25. There's no point of even getting mad, throwing balls, and doing all this extra stuff, because they're not even going to show this on Sports Center, kiddo. Because why? Your team has won 19 games this season, and we're almost at the end of the year. You guys stink, and you're having a stinky season. You're nowhere near being a rookie of the year, any of that stuff. I do like the kid, though. He can play some basketball, but he's going to have to learn his place. You know what I mean? I think that he wants to be a little trash talker, a little, somebody who's trying to be a little bit more than what he's supposed to be. And this might come back to bite you in the butt. You haven't improved much in the NBA, but that you just know how to lose. So, why don't you work on being a winner and get that loser mentality out of here? Because that's exactly what I saw with the kid yesterday. Now, I'm looking at the stat lines, and once again, AD goes off. AD had 2 38-point efforts, and now he had a 40-point effort as well. AD's last 3 games have been absolutely remarkable. The Lakers have been very good in every single one of those games as well, too. I'm looking at the numbers. After AD scored 15 points against the Bulls last Sunday, he went back home to Chicago, dropped 38. Then he went to Minnesota 2 days later, drops 38. Then he goes to Houston a day later and goes ahead and drops 40 on their head. So, it's big time. And then, played against OKC on the 25th. They dropped 27 that night. So it's like All right, AD. All right, AD. You know, you doing the damn thing. And that was his fifth 30-point game or better in the last 10 games as well, too. So, you know, AD's playing big time, big time right now. Finishing up 49 and 1 with the assist, and he had 2 blocks, and he also had 4 offensive rebounds. So AD is the one pushing this team towards the playoffs right now. Nobody else is. AD's doing his thing. But let's talk about Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura had a real good day yesterday. He went 10 of 14 from the field, had 20 points, 12 rebounds, also had 3 blocks yesterday as well, too, and added in a rebound and added in a assist as well, too. So this guy really did take advantage of his game playing time yesterday, and he got about 24 minutes yesterday. He kind of jumped into Vanderbilt's spot yesterday for a bit, and that was very helpful. Troy Brown had a good day yesterday as well, too. He had 7 points, but Malik Beasley had a much-needed day yesterday. He had 13 points, 3 of 11 from the three-point line, but it was much better than what we've been seeing. He only scored 13, but he played really good basketball yesterday in the time he was in the game, and he got a lot more time than he's been getting the last few games. So that was good to see. D'Angelo Russell got hurt, but I think that they kept D'Angelo out second half on precaution. I don't know if he got hurt too bad. I just think that the Lakers didn't want him to aggravate that injury a little bit more. But LeBron had a triple-double yesterday. That was incredible. LeBron wound up getting his triple-double yesterday, and that was pretty good for LeBron. LeBron wound up going 18, 10, and 11 yesterday. That was a big confidence boost for the Lakers. So everything's working out in the right direction for the Lakers. Now, when it comes to the Rockets, Kevin Porter and Jalen Green, once again, they had themselves a pretty good day. They combined for 44 points. Porter getting 20, Green getting 24. These guys are becoming a pretty good duo, but the Rockets are just a bad team. Jabari Smith, like I said, had 14. Kenyon Martin Jr. had 11. And then you had Sengun get 18 himself. So everybody in the starting lineup had double figures, but their bench didn't do much of anything last night. Their bench wound up getting 22 as a unit. The Lakers bench wound up getting 50 as a unit. So that was very helpful for the Lakers last night. And the Lakers, once again, had 5 guys in double figures. That's like, I think, possibly like maybe the 20th game in a row. The Lakers have done that as well, too. So everything's coming together in the right way for this Laker team, and you got to love it. And I say this because the Lakers now are a half a game out from now the 5 seed. It was all about chasing the 6 seed, but now the Lakers are sitting at the 5 seed. They're half a game out, and they got a big game coming up against Utah tomorrow in Utah, and then they got the biggest game coming up on Wednesday against the Clippers. And that game is going to be huge because the Clippers are only a half game ahead of the Lakers. So it's going to be a big deal with that game. And the Lakers want to make sure they don't get swept by the Clippers this season either. And a lot of us are looking at this in a sense of telling ourselves that, all right, it seems like the 4 seed is going to be probably locked up, even though the Lakers still have are still out 3 games out from that situation, but still. I would say that that's probably locked up right now because even the Clippers and Golden State are 2.5 games out from that elusive 4 seed. But it seems like everybody's trying to avoid Phoenix. But the Lakers, knowing them, they'll take Phoenix head on just so they can avoid this play-in. So the Lakers are very close to not even being a part of this plan. But it's going to be incredible to see that we could possibly have all 5 Pacific Division champs teams in here, and the Lakers are the ones that are on the bottom. So with that, let's go ahead and pretty much look at what's left. The Lakers got 4 games left, and as I said before, Lakers needed to go 7 out of 3. Right now, the Lakers have won 5 out of 6. So pretty much with that, they are looking to sweep April. And if they swept April, that would absolutely go above and beyond expectations. That would mean the Lakers went 9-1. So that's incredible, in my opinion. And the Lakers have won their last 6 out of 7 as well, too. So this is just really good basketball. And when you look back on what they did in March, everything is pointed towards the Lakers having a big run in the playoffs. So with that, let's go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into Blue Crew Daily, and then we're going to jump into the MLB as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
What's up, world? I am back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. And let's go ahead and jump into Blue Crew Daily. Blue Crew Daily, Dodgers split the series with the Diamondbacks, losing 2-1 in finale. It was the tale of 2 different teams for the Dodgers. One team was a dominant force with great pitching. The Dodgers opening day, they spotted the DBacks 2 runs. They wind up beating them 8-2. All right. And then we got to Friday's game. Dodgers wound up losing that game 2-1 on a late 2-run home run from Chris Lewis, a guy that just got traded to the Diamondbacks from the Mariners. And he's actually an Arizona kid as well, too. So that was pretty huge, hitting a home run over there at Dodger Stadium. And it was a beauty, too. It was a nice hit ball as well. So that was kind of a heartbreaker in a sense for the Dodgers. And that was off of Alex Vesia. Everybody remembers Alex Vesia, the one that pretty much blew the San Diego series last year in Game 4. And then Saturday came around, and Trayce Thompson had the game of games. Trayce Thompson literally probably solidified himself as an everyday guy with the Dodgers. He missed out on the first 2 games of the season. They started him in center field on Saturday night. Trayce wound up getting 8 RBIs and 3 home runs. He hit a grand slam to start off the night. Then his next at-bat, he went ahead and hit a 3-run shot. And then with his final at-bat, he went ahead and hit the good old solo shot too. And pretty much that was a curtain call moment for Trayce as well. And it was just big time that Trayce Thompson has kind of went through the ringer a little bit here in the MLB and finds himself back with the Dodgers, a team that really believed in him early on in his career. And pretty much he's back. And, the Dodgers just didn't even have any room for the guy when they had him the first time around. But now he's a much-needed asset to the team because the Dodgers' one weakness is probably the outfield because, they got rid of Cody Bellinger and others who were patrolling the outfield from before. So pretty much they had to kind of retool this thing a little bit. And they're trying to figure out who's going to be their actual center fielder every single day. And Outman did great opening night. And then Trayce Thompson backs it up here a few nights later. So yesterday, the Dodgers probably trotted out one of the lineups that everybody was looking forward to watching. And it seemed like it was a pretty good group yesterday. Mookie even played some second base as well. But I just think that maybe that group might not be one of the groups that you do a lot. You know what I mean? Because they had Outman and Trace in the game at the same time, but no Miguel Vargas was in the game yesterday. So pretty much the Dodgers were looking to get this first series win of the year, but it wound up finishing up 2-2 split on the series. And the Diamondbacks won yesterday the same way that they won on Friday night. The Diamondbacks had excellent pitching. Zach Davies only gave up one run, and that was a home run in the second inning to Will Smith. After that, lights out. Their bullpen did an excellent job yesterday. They didn't allow many hits, and they didn't. And from what you could see, they didn't allow many runs either. And the Dodgers only were able to muster out 4 runs, and that was between their first 3 batters of the game. So the Dodgers bats were literally shut down yesterday, and the Diamondbacks get a really rare win off their pitching. You know what I mean? Because the Diamondbacks don't have the greatest bullpen. So they literally won that game off of great pitching yesterday, and they showed us some things as well too. Carroll is a guy that set the table yesterday, and he got that tying run in place right on time because he was able to make the Dodgers really think a little bit out there, and he really made Thor, pretty much, look kind of foolish, you know what I mean? Because he went out there and he absolutely, said, I'm taking second and I'm taking third. And then he wound up scoring. And this actually led to a 1-1 tie. And then the Dodgers with Grady got a little bit overzealous, and then the Dodgers give up the lead and wind up losing the game 2-1. It's that simple. So the Dodgers, once again, you can't blame Dave Roberts on why they lost the game because Dave Roberts don't hit. All right. The pitching is superb. Let's just keep it real. The pitching is superb. They gave up no more than 2 runs each outing. Okay. So they gave up a total of 4 runs through 4 games. So the Dodgers pitching, as I said, throughout the whole spring training and all season, the Dodgers pitching is the best in baseball. And as long as you got great pitching, you're going to be in great shape. Even though the Dodgers come out of this thing 2-2, that means absolutely nothing to me because guess who else comes to town this week? The Colorado Rockies, and the Dodgers have owned the Colorado Rockies at the Ravine. And the way that the Diamondbacks were able to split this, I'm not surprised at all because the Diamondbacks are a more improved team. And I told you this during the preview. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But the Dodgers are 2-2 to start the year. And tonight they have a game against the Colorado Rockies at the Ravine starting at 7 o'clock tonight. And taking the mound for the Dodgers tonight is going to be, well, you got Thor and Kershaw out the way, and I thought that was excellent. Those two, the way that they pitched. Now we get to see the 5th day starter, and that's going to be Michael Grove today. And Michael Grove is going to be going at Ryan Feltner, and Ryan Feltner had a 5.83 ERA last year as well. Had 84 Ks, but gave up 65 runs last season, and also gave 102 hits. So the Dodgers have a good history against this guy as well, too. So I really do feel like this is going to wind up being a game that the Dodgers should absolutely run away with. And you're in good shape if you take the Dodgers tonight on the 1.5. They're going to be they're going to be one of the bigger favorites of the night. So watch out for that portion as well, too, because that might come back to bite you in the butt. But I think that the Dodgers will be fine because they're not the Padres, and they're going to probably keep things really, really low tonight because the weather doesn't call for big hits leaving the ballpark. So let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. The Dodgers start a 3-game series with the Rockies before they head out on the road. And when they get on the road, they'll have a 4-game set against Arizona, and then they have a 3-game set on the road against San Francisco. So they start off with 7 at home. Well, actually, they start off with 6 at home, and then they got 7 on the road for their first 2 weeks of play. So There it is. There it is. And also the Cubbies are coming to town from the 14th through the 16th, followed up by the Mets coming to town from the 17th and the 19th. So that's another 6-game series coming up for the Dodgers this month. So that's the first 20 days of the season for you guys when I talk about it. So let's see what the Dodgers can do tonight in this 2-game series with the Colorado Rockies. All right. So let's talk some baseball. We got a good one today with 2 really good teams, and that's going to be the winless Phillies, who were in the World Series last year, are going against the Yankees, who were 2-1, could have been 3-0, but the Yankees, pretty much are 2-1. So, the Yankees start their season off with National League teams. They play the Giants to open up the year. Now they play the Phillies, a winless team, and a team fresh off of a loss last night in Texas on Sunday Night Baseball as well, too. So when I look at this game for tonight, I see that they have Nestor Cortez on the mound for the Yanks, and then they have on the mound for the Padres tonight. I mean, not for the Padres, but for the Phillies, they have Taijuan Walker, their very good free agent pickup, a guy that's been in the league last 10 years as well, too. He got his paper because he did it. He probably had his best season pitching with the Mets last year. He struck out 132 last year. Had a 3.49 ERA as well, too. And he just was lights out. It's just that simple. And, for a guy that's played on as many teams as he's played on in the last 10 years, the guy's been on 4 different teams. So now he's here in Philadelphia where he was much wanted, And I know that he's looking towards having a really, really, really good year with this team because now he's paid. Now he got a little bit of pressure on him. So now it's time to step it up. He went 12-5 last year, and tonight is his debut. Nestor Cortez is a guy coming fresh off of an injury and everything, but Nestor had his best season last year. He threw 2.44 ERA, and he struck out 163 guys last year. So he's looking to improve upon that this year. So this is a big game because you got the Phillies taking a lot of the action here. Not taking a lot of action. I mean, the Yankees are taking a lot of the action here. A lot of people feel real good about the Yankees going into this game. But you guys have to understand one thing about early in the baseball season. Winless teams in baseball aren't the same as winless teams in basketball and football. It's just a series that they lost. They can bounce back and win 6 in a row. It doesn't matter if they lose 3 in a row in baseball. You can come back around and win 3 in a row right away. So it's nothing to panic about, Philadelphia. You're fine. So when you look at the stats this weekend, the team that did much better when it came down to scoring runs was the Yankees, of course, because the Phillies only were able to manage. The Phillies scored 7, then 3, then 1. So pretty much they only were able to manage 11 runs, but their pitching gave up 29 runs this weekend. So that's not good. That's like a total of 13 runs a game because they gave 11 on opening day. They gave 16 on Saturday and 2 yesterday. So that's really not good, when you look at it. You know what I mean? So this pitching is going to have to be better, and they were better yesterday. It's just that when it comes down to it, their hitting was just bad. So I think when we look at this one tonight, I would say the best bet in this spot will probably be the Yankees because the Yankees winning this game really looks very feasible, and it looks like it's going to happen. So I like the Yankees with the run line tonight at the -1.5. And there it is. There it is. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Pirates, who surprised me on opening day going against the Red Sox. The Red Sox they gave the Red Sox some love a little bit. They start you off with the Orioles for the season. And then they got you playing against the Pirates, two teams that are slated to be in last place, supposedly. But I don't think the Pirates are finishing last place. They got O'Neal Cruz, a guy that's a really, really top-notch player. Now, they did win the opener and then wind up losing the next 2 out of 3. So they lost 2 out of 3 this weekend. They won the opener, dropped the next 2. And the funny thing about it is they dropped 5 in the opener, but they only scored 3 runs after that. So things were a little tough for this team, but it was some good pitching going on in those games as well, too, especially yesterday, losing 3-1 to the Reds. And you got kind of surprised because literally, like, none of these games went over. Only one of the games went over, but yesterday was a little bit of a homer fest. Brian Reynolds hits a homer yesterday. That was pretty big for him. And we see exactly what's going on here with the Pirates, the same old, same old. They're just not hitting the ball that well here to start off the season. So, that's kind of comes with the territory with this team. They're looking, though, to right those wrongs tonight against Boston. Boston, on the other hand, though, Boston started off pretty good this weekend. They had themselves a very, very fun baseball win. At home games, you love to go ahead and have one of those games that really entertain the crowd. They came back from 7-1 on Saturday and finished that game off with a 2-run home run to win that game in the bottom of the 9th inning. It was a big moment. It was a Saturday. It's an opening weekend. And so pretty much Boston really needed that to boost them ahead because the next day they went out and dominated the Orioles, who seemed like they were having their way with the Red Sox literally throughout the first, I would say, 20 innings of their series because they beat them 10-9 the day before, but they were beating them down. And the Red Sox had a nice little push there, but they were upended at the end. Now, the next day, they go up 7-1 and, they got comfy. They lose the game 10-9. So then yesterday, it was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Red Sox came out there and absolutely scorched the earth on them. They dropped the first 3 runs of the game. And Baltimore found themselves back in the game, but they still wound up losing the game. Cedric Mullins had a home run yesterday, though, and Cedric Mullins actually had a pretty good weekend, to be honest. You know what I mean? So that's something that was pretty good. And it seems like he's really taken to it after playing in the WBC, and he has 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 4 runs to start the year with a 385 batting average. So, that was pretty good on his end. But all in all, the Red Sox have a lot moving in the right direction to start this year off. The Yoshida was pretty good this weekend. He had 4 hits in his first 13 at-bats, 4 runs, and 3 RBIs. That was pretty good. And he didn't hit any homers, but all in all, they got Adam Duvall for that. Adam Duvall was the one that hit the walk-off home run for him. And Kike has 2 home runs as well, too. So you look at everything going into this game, you got a lot of old Dodgers on this Red Sox team. So I think tonight the Pirates really do show a team that will probably be under bet tonight. They're not going to take them as seriously as they should, and that's not a good idea. So I'm going to take the Pirates as my dog of the day with the plus 125. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the Braves and the Cardinals. This is another really good game. Braves lost yesterday to the lowly Nats, but you knew that was quite possible this weekend. So they wind up losing that game. Then you have the Cardinals, who are 2-1. They wound up losing the opener, and then they wound up winning the next 2 in a row. And they had a pretty good game yesterday, pretty good outcome to it as well. A very good series this weekend with a very good team in the Blue Jays. The Braves kind of had it easy, though. They had to go against a division rival in the Nats. I think that these two teams are a lot of the same, but when it comes down to it, the Braves got the better pitching, and they possibly just slightly got the better lineup as well, too. Even though the Cardinals have Goldschmidt and Ariando, it's still, the Braves have a very consistent group, and they won the World Series a few years back. So when I look at this one, there's not much to say because this game is truly a 50-50. And I truly do feel that this game will wind up going under. We're going to take advantage of the pitching matchup here because we got the old vet Charlie Morton on the mound today, and then he's going against Jake Woodford, who's pretty decent, pretty good. He's been with St. Louis the last few years. He had a 2.23 ERA last year as well, too. And he didn't start as much, but he is a starter now. So pretty much he has a great ERA. This looks like it's going to be a really good pitching matchup tonight. That's what I'm banking on as well, too. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And we move forward from there. But I do like the under 8 going on in this game. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Astros and the Tigers. And I know that usually in this spot, I would probably tell you guys jump all over the Tigers. And the Astros are 2-2, right? But the Tigers are 0-3. They're coming in here as a huge dog tonight as well. But not huge enough dog for me. I don't see them they're not plus 200. So I don't want any parts of them. They're plus 180 tonight. They got Matthew Boyd on the mound as well, too, going against Hunter Brown, kind of a new kid on the block, a guy that was coming out of the bullpen last year. So it looks like what they're probably doing here is probably going to have a bullpen day for the Astros. And Matthew Boyd is actually a pretty damn good pitcher. And it's funny, Kat, Matthew Boyd was actually traded to Detroit last year and came right back, traded to Seattle and came right back to Detroit. So the guy loves playing for Detroit. He was one of their top pitchers for a while as well, too. And he was literally traded for purposes to help the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, and it was funny because he actually went back home. He's from Mercer Island, Washington. So it was pretty funny to go back home and then come back to a lowly team like the Tigers. But when you know that you're a valuable asset to a team, you want to play for that team. You know what I mean? So Boyd really is a difference in this game tonight. But I'm looking at the Tigers' stats to start off. They're 29th already in the league, 30th on base percentage. Batting average is 29th. They only had scored 3 runs this weekend. 3 runs. It was awful. And they hit 1 home run. And this team is just, it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? They lost 0-4, 2-12, and 1-5. All right? And then you have the Astros go 2-2. And I truly do feel like what's going to happen here is that the Astros are going to be a big overbet here. But that doesn't mean they lose the game. What happens is that all the 1.5 bettors are going to get shafted today. I feel like the plus 1.5 has to be the play here in this spot. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I do like the Tigers with the plus 1.5 just to keep the game close. Lose the game 6-5. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Just keep it close. That's all I ask for. If they win, good for them. But I'm going to take the run line plus 1.5. All right, we move forward. Let's talk about those Guardians. Guardians wound up winning 3 in a row after losing an opening night on one swing of the bat, losing 3-0. Then they wound up just sweeping out the rest of the series. They won the first 3 out of 4 in very convincing fashion. Yesterday got themselves a good clutch win as well, too, winning that game 6-5. So today they come into this one looking to continue this early 3-game winning streak. And it's not that they're hitting the ball that great. It's just that they're consistent at what they do. And that's what makes the Guardians really good. Now, the A's had a snuck out a opening night win. Everybody was like, oh, okay, A's, but let's keep it real. We knew that was probably going to be the A's one win for probably the next 3 weeks, because the thing is the A's are a bad team. They are awful. And literally Saturday showed that, because, they went ahead and they won on Thursday night, opening night, 2-1. But that's because there were a lot of mistakes made by the Angels, and there were a lot of guys left on base. So what happened in this game was that, pretty much the home team wins. It always falls to the home team when the favorite makes way too many mistakes. And they had Showtime on the mound, so that was going to give them more motivation in that game. So that's what happened. Now, Saturday, the Angels show everything that they're capable of doing. Rendon Trout and Showtime all had RBIs. They got a big effort from Taylor Ward as well, too. So it looked really good Saturday, like what the possibilities can be for this Angels team. And can they really compete with the Astros? That's the biggest question. So, that was a big win for them, but you didn't see much coming from the Angels after game one. They lost 6-0 yesterday, and they lost 13-1 on Saturday. This team is really hapless at this moment. You can't do anything with the A's for a while. The A's might be something that you can be betting on midsummer when nobody cares anymore, but right now they'll probably be a team that a lot of people get excited about in the value terms, but still, it's going to wind up being something that's going to lose you money. So I like the Guardians in this spot, but let's just keep it real. It's too much to 155, but we'll take it. We'll just take the money line because this game can wind up being a lot closer than what it really needs to be. All right, so let's move forward and move on to the D-backs and the Padres. And the D-backs and the Padres, 2-2, and the Padres are 2-2. So this, I already talked to you guys about the Diamondbacks earlier. Great pitching when they needed it. You know what I mean? They great pitching on Friday, great pitching on Sunday. For Thursday and Saturday, it was awful. But that's because, it's different. It's different floats for different boats. And I think that, on Thursday, that was more pressure on them. You had a lot of rain coming, and pretty much the Dodgers showed up because, it was opening day, and it's opening day. The next night, they took advantage of the Dodgers' bats being a little cold, so then they won that game, and then they got lit up on Saturday. But yesterday, they showed a great team effort, and they showed exactly what type of team that they can be in a close game. And I think that when it comes down to it, the Diamondbacks are a much more improved team than I even thought. And having Carroll out there in the leadoff spot, having a natural leadoff guy, makes them very dangerous going into this game. San Diego, to me, is just so cocky. They just think that everything is going to fall to them, fall in place. They lost the first 2 games of the season with that mentality. And I think that they got themselves back on the good foot because they realized that this is not going to be handed to us. They wound up having really good efforts in the next 2 games. They won 8-4, then they won 3-1. So pretty much tonight, I feel like this one actually has a very tough way of picking who the winner is going to be, but I think that we can go ahead and play the over 8 in this spot. So with that, that's where we're going to go, and that's going to be a wrap on our game, on my selected games for Monday night. So let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets real quick. And with Talkin Tickets, we have this group right here. I've already went over it, but here we go for the refresher. It's a 60-1 ticket. We got the Yanks with the -1.5. We have the Pirates, the MLB dog of the day, the Bet Us MLB dog of the day at +125. We have the under 8 with the Braves and the Cards, the +1.5 with the Tigers, and then we have the Guardians money line -155, and then we finish up with the over 8 with the D-backs and the Padres. All right, so that's going to be Talkin Tickets for today. And you guys, I know you guys are asking why didn't I put out the plays for the national championship? Well, if you're a client, you'll know what the plays are for the national championship. But like I said before, you guys should play the under team total if you're looking for a play in that game. And I already said that I'm taking UConn, so it's a -7.5. But I do have other plays intact that are going to only be exclusive to clients. So if you want to just jump on the championship game today, DM me and I'll get you a good little fair little price, and I'll get you today and tomorrow and Wednesday. How about that? So pretty much let's have a great game tonight, and I look forward to it. I hope you guys do as well, and I want to thank you guys very much once again for tuning in. And with that, this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.